Alright, so I added some sponge painting here. I'm really thinking about how trees grow and how they don't necessarily, they're not perfect, and how some trees look different than other trees, and how I can use the edge of the paintbrush and the sponge to really make that texture. Alright, and so now I need to add my stems. So don't forget about those. A lot of people forget about the branches. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to just kind of come down. Don't forget to show kind of natural variations. And notice I actually have two colors on my paintbrush, and I'm not afraid of those two different colors. Don't be afraid of using more than one color in your picture or something. There we go. Now I'll finish by doing it over here. And again, I'm using a pretty wet paintbrush and working pretty quickly to represent those lines. Okay, so those are my basic trees. And now I'm going to start working on my ground. So in my picture, the ground isn't bright and green. It's actually almost a beige color. So again, as it gets farther towards this horizon line, it's going to get darker. And as it gets closer towards me, it's going to get a lot lighter. So I'm going to start with a brown. And then I'm going to actually mix a little bit of yellow into it. And I'm going to mix it directly on this paper. So I'm going to take this, kind of going across that line. And if your paint seems really thin, it's probably because you have a lot of water in your paintbrush. And notice I'm going over that white line that I've created. And now I'm actually going to do the same thing on the other side, because sometimes it's really hard to get that same color. So I'm going to paint both sides as much as I can at the same time. Alright, and see, these two colors are mixing right now because the paint is still wet. And I'm going to mix down to about the same distance that I have this one. And now I'm going to take some yellow, and I'm going to start to mix that yellow in. And notice, I don't just stop right there at the edge. I mix it all the way up into my paper, and I'll mix it down. I'll bring it over. And then again, I'll do it on the other side. And notice that I'm working really quickly when I'm painting, because I really want to blend those two colors together. Remember, blending is just a nice fancy way of saying that you're mixing colors together. And it's okay if you go over your actual drawing and what's in the middle, because you can always paint the back end later on. Alright, so I'm pretty pleased with this. And now I'm just going to add a little bit more white to just lighten it up. And if you don't like the color that you've created, it's paint, people. You can paint over it. It's really not a big deal. Just let it dry. Don't even have to ask about it. Just paint over it if you're not happy. And then I'm going to add just a tiny bit of white right here at the bottom. Okay, so again, blending. Blending is your best friend in your painting. It really helps add a lot of dimension and depth to your picture without really doing much work. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, there is our almost finished background. You can add some more details. You can add some dry brush texture down here in the grass, or down here. I could go through and start to add some dry brush if I really wanted to. Show some of that texture of the stone. Use some sponging, whatever I really felt like. But, so for the most part, our background's done.